At 7 o'clock on a Friday night, most sensible people are getting ready to go down to the pub. But on the Isle of Mull, one Friday in October, they start rallying instead. They've been doing this for over a quarter of a century, and yet the rally remains one of Britain's best-kept secrets, despite the fact that the entry is always full within a few weeks of the regulations becoming available. The event has an extraordinary timetable, with the first leg not finishing until the early hours of Saturday morning, a second leg on Saturday afternoon, and a third leg running from Saturday night until early Sunday morning. The drivers cover almost 175 stage miles, which on average takes them more than 3 hours, making it easily the longest and toughest rally that the majority of the competitors will ever tackle. This may only be the first evening, but if your car has a sign on it saying, "I love Mull oysters," then you might as well make sure that it gets in front of a camera. In the daylight on Saturday afternoon, Callum Duffy was running first on the road, having been a clear leader after the first night section. Sadly, the clutch failed before too long, and he was to go out. This let his fellow Mulster, Neil McKinnon, into the lead, or should it be Mull man? Anyway, being in the lead is not a new experience for Neil, as he has already won the event an amazing 6 times. With a name like Billy Bird, you'd think he was a stand-up comedian or something, but no, he's a rally driver, now lying in second place on the Tour of Mull in his rear-wheel drive Vauxhall Astra. Michael Shield had been 5th overnight and was now in 4th in his more traditional Vauxhall Astra. His has front-wheel drive and the Reckitt was down on power. Stuart Eggleston's Peugeot 309 looks fairly standard apart from the fact that his front bumper is hanging off, but he was running well inside the top 10. Frightening the life out of himself and the watching spectators was Richard Thompson in Nissan Sunny GTI-R. This is the same man who is responsible for the technical spec of the Micras in the Nissan Micra Challenge. It certainly wasn't in the script that he should be lying second at the end of the afternoon. Looking at this stage, is it any wonder that the Tour of Mull has been asked to join the Ears Motor News Championship in 1996? As ever, it was a tough event, but local driver Eddie O'Donnell Jr., co-driven by the somewhat surprisingly named Eddie O'Donnell Sr., came home in 6th. Gordon Lloyd was 5th, co-driven by the ubiquitous Stella Voiles after a steady run. Tomo was 4th, and full credit to Reg Smith for having the confidence to sit next to him in that monster of a car. And full credit to Michael Shield for bringing his Astro in 3rd. 2nd was an excellent performance for Billy Bird, and he was rightly delighted. Despite going off and getting a maximum late in the afternoon, Neil McKinnon did all that was needed to take his 7th victory by a little over a minute. The last round of the year's Motor News Championship for 1995 took place over the wet and windswept ranges of Otterburn. It was so bleak that it brought back memories of the first round of the championship, the Muller on Epping. John Brodie had led the somewhat depleted field away, followed by Richard Mawson in his escort Cosworth. Somewhat surprisingly, Pete Doughty Sierra Cosworth was there. I should say the ex-Pete Doughty Sierra, as it's now owned by Tony Giannetta. It was one of those days when even keeping the car going in a straight line was hard enough, such was the strength of the wind. It was John Brodie who took victory on this somewhat grim event, a victory that was well deserved given his efforts in the championship this year. John Harland was going well in his Sapphire Cosworth, but was finding that two-wheel drive was a bit limiting in these conditions. Richard Walsh had four-wheel drive, but still fitted Nobles as a precaution to help him stay on the road. This man had come over from Iceland to do Mull in the Cheviot, so it must have been a considerable disappointment for him to finish neither. Given the reliability of this car during 1995, it's a great shame that the head gasket should choose to go the first time that Tony Giannetta should get to rally it. John Harland found that if he had all his wheels in the air, he didn't notice his lack of traction, while John Pye had no such problems and would finish a splendid second in his brand new Sapphire. Look, this is boring. Let's see what rally videos were like before we invented acceleration.